So that was a snippet of the previs of an original short film that I'll be working on for the next few months. And for the most part, I'll be doing this alone. Welcome to the first ever episode of the production vlogs. I don't upload very often on this channel, and I would imagine that that problem will only get worse now that I'm working on an original short film. So I thought, why not drop a production vlog every 1 or 2 weeks, depending on how much I get done. Now, before I catch you up with the pre-production works that I've done so far, this is the name of the animated short film, Red Feathers. I'm not going to explain the meaning behind the name. I'm sure you guys will eventually figure that out. Now, here's what this film is about. This film takes place in Diamond City. The protagonist, whose name has yet to be confirmed, is somebody who fights for justice, not for the government, not for any corporation, just for the people who he cares enough about. Some may view him as some sort of a vigilante. At this point of the timeline, he serves justice and fights crime ethically. He does not kill. At this point of the timeline, he does all that, but will take necessary measures that some may consider unethical. He kills. Now, at this center point of the timeline is the turning point, and it consists of the events that turned him from an ethical vigilante to someone who believes that extreme measures can sometimes be justified. And that turning point is the plot of Red Feathers. I'm going to briefly go through the first 2 acts of this film as vaguely as possible, just so that we get a sense of what we have to create, asset-wise. If you want to be devoid of any spoilers, I'm sorry, but that's likely not going to happen, but I'll do my best to keep these production vlogs as spoiler-free for as long as possible. Okay, so Act 1 occurs in a dark void, where our protagonist wakes up and suffers from a sleep paralysis. He is fully conscious, but cannot move his entire body but his eyes. In this scene, he's gonna be covered in a sea of hands. A small crack appears in the void as light begins to seep through it. The small crack gradually breaks its way into a hole about the size of a doorway with 2 doors. Within the hole reveals a character that seems to mean a lot to our protagonist. We'll address this character as the Vision for now. In Act 2, a fight scene occurs in the middle of a town square in Diamond City. In the middle of the town square stands a tall statue of a lady with huge wings. Our protagonist will be facing a group of 4 goons. The main antagonist, male, and 3 goons. 2 male, 1 female. So right now we're still at the pre-production stage, and clearly we have a lot of work to do. So here's what I've done so far. So I pretty much have the story locked down. I know what's gonna happen and how things are gonna pan out, but some of the motivation behind certain actions may need some tweaking. Again, we're talking about a huge turning point of this character. So we're gonna need a pretty convincing motivation. As for the storyboard of Act 1 and Act 2 is done. All the shots were done in Blender, and any necessary paint overs were done in a trial version of Clip Studio Paint. The fight scene in Act 2 is also done. However, instead of storyboarding the fight choreography, I decided to do a quick and dirty previs in Blender. Check it out. This was how Red Feathers even came about, by the way. The idea started to grow when I said that I really wanted to work on a short fight scene. So anyway, as I've said, this fight scene occurs in Act 2. And since we're leading up to that turning point, I wanted this fight scene to showcase his anger. It's visceral, especially with the part where he literally plays ping pong with a big goon as the ping pong ball. But also I wanted this fight scene to feel grounded and not Supercube episode 7 level of over the top. Not because I think it's bad. Trust me, I want to work on an over the top fight scene someday, but it just felt right for this fight scene to be on the grounded end of things. So some criteria that I've set for myself was for this fight scene to be clear, have no cuts, have sick action poses, slow motion that actually makes sense, that's really important, and impact frames. So no weird slow-mos like in Zack Snyder's Rebel Moon. Think Alita Battle Angel. the 2019 live-action movie, or that one scene in Times Square in The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Sick action poses like in some of the fight scenes of Arcane, impact frames, also like in Arcane or literally any anime with a decent fight scene. The human figures you saw in the previs were from the human-based meshes that Blender provided for free. I just threw on a quick and dirty rig and animated this scene in FK. The rough versions of the impact frames were mostly done in Photoshop, though in the future I would probably do them in Clip Studio Paint. As for the architecture of the town square, I plan to draw some inspiration from the Peranakan shop houses in Singapore and some architecture elements of steampunk. I'm a huge fan of the architecture of Zaun in Arcane, which funnily enough heavily integrates Art Nouveau, which can also be found in Peranakan architectures. Here is a little work in progress that I worked on. More to come in the future. Alright, let's talk a little bit about the character designs. Keep in mind I'm not a 2D artist. I am working on it though. I've been noodling around in Clip Studio Paint. But anyway, I've created some iterations of the antagonist, the protagonist, and the big goon. So kind of like Popeye the Sailor Man, I gave the antagonist some relatively small upper arms, but made his forearms huge. That is his, I guess, signature trait. I gave the protagonist a slender fighter built with massive boots, and the big goon is just big. I still need to come up with some concepts of the other characters, and when I'm done, I will probably have to throw them in a single canvas just to make sure that they're cohesive. I will also be working on the sound design of this film, and if there's gonna be any music, I will likely be producing them too. The sound design test you heard in the previs mostly consists of sounds from Epidemic Sounds. For instance, the grunts, the electricity sounds, and the big boom sounds. But I actually did some Foley as well. The rustling clothes were just me flinging my hoodie around in front of my microphone, recorded directly in a DaVinci Resolve. And the punches were just me punching my leg with a boxing glove. And I thought it turned out pretty okay. This actually gave me the confidence to do more Foley work. So yeah, that'll be fun when the day comes. That's it. You're all caught up for now. If any of this excites you at all and you trust that I'll bring this film into fruition at a decent quality and you want to show your support and back this film, Red Feathers, then the best way to do that right now would be to either buy my products on Gumroad or become a member of the YouTube channel. Consider leaving this video a like, consider subscribing, all of that YouTube stuff, and I'll see you in the next episode.